to stay on track and try and like focus my mind. So is there, before I kind of jump into it, does anyone have any questions? Is there anything in particular that anyone would like me to talk about? You can ask questions at any point throughout this. No?
Just anything to do with preventing spots. I think that you get a lot of those requests, but yeah, anything to do with that.
Yes, I've had, which honestly, acne is just a whole, and breakouts and congestion and marks left from it and reasons behind it. It's just a whole kind of field in itself. And I think start of the year, like I have very acne prone skin. I know for years I was like, this year I'm really going to get on top of it. And it's that feeling of kind of like a new beginning. And then you go down the rabbit hole and 10 minutes later, you're like, oh God, why? Why? Just why? Why to all of it? So I will definitely talk about that today. But also I'm going to try and put together a course, not like a therapist course, just a course for people to work on themselves and their own skin all around acne and understanding it a little bit better, because I think once you understand, then you can make more informed choices. Whereas if you're looking to brands who are trying to like retell you their products for the answers, obviously they're going to tell you that they're the answer, and then sometimes they're not the answer, and you've just spent a lot of money and you just have a lot of products and you still have the same problem. So I'm going to try and put something together for that. But yeah, does anyone else have any questions or kind of areas of focus today?
Yeah, Katie, hi.
Hi, Helen, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks.
I was just wondering about allergies, like, because it's summertime down here in New Zealand, so and hay fever season is really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm just getting heaps of congestion around the eyes. My eyes are always constantly puffy and stuff. So yeah, that would be an awesome topic.
Okay, cool. We'll tackle that in the massage for this. And yeah,
Okay, cool.
quercetin is a supplement that you should look at. It helps to suppress histamine in the body to help kind of reduce the severity of allergic reactions and allergies and hay fever and stuff like that. Okay,
cool. Thanks.
No worries. So New Year rituals. I think that New Year's is really challenging. I don't think I've ever stuck to a resolution. I don't even bother making them anymore because I am just not good at committing to stuff like this. I set myself up for failure and it's just one big disappointment. But when it comes to skin, I do think that like it can be really exhausting. So having this kind of new chapter, obviously, well, Helen, I don't know about you, but we have a lot of time on our hands, sat in lockdown. So I think it is kind of a great moment if you wanted to start trying some new things or bringing in some new habits. I actually do think that this has fallen at quite a good time, quite a convenient time. So I'm going to talk about how to see results and how to make sure that you see results from the skincare that you're using, and like a few guidelines that I follow. So the first thing is consistency. If you're not consistent with a regime, you're never going to see any results. And I see it in my clients, and I like honestly feel their pain. Like I understand that it's so frustrating when you just want something to work now and it's not working now. Products aren't designed to work like that, and the skin is a living organ. So for example, if you've introduced an active like a vitamin C or a retinol, they're not designed really to see results until like 12 weeks after using them. And I see all the time people use something for a couple of weeks, it doesn't work, and then they give up on it. And like, I get it, I do really understand. And I think that a way of avoiding that is not changing too much at once. So I think it's really important to think about what you can do daily, weekly, and monthly, and commit to those things. So they'll be different for everybody. Different people have different levels of energy or enthusiasm around skincare. If you have ever seen any of my videos before, I'll be the first to say that I'm very lazy when it comes to skincare. I have no desire to do a 12 or 15 step regime. I wouldn't stick to it at all, and the products would go to waste and ultimately go in the bin, which would be a massive crying shame for the environment, for my sense of guilt, and also for my bank balance. So I think the key is selecting things that you know you're going to do. If you're someone that finds it a struggle to cleanse and moisturize, you're not going to suddenly be using like essences and mists and like all of these things. That's not a problem. It's not a problem. You can still achieve really lovely skin because, like I said, consistency is key. So selecting the products that work for you and then making sure you're actually using them. And think about what you can do daily, weekly, and monthly. So as an example, daily, bare minimum, and what I think everyone should be aiming to achieve is cleansing and hydrating daily, particularly in the evening. If you love skincare and you're already like cleansing, you're using your mist, you're using your active, you're using an oil, and you're using a moisturizer daily, you are a better person than me. Congratulations to you. I'm sure that you have wonderful skin. I'm jealous, but that's great. It's great if you can do it. If you think it's something that you can commit to like 3 times a week, so for example, you don't think that you could do something every single day, but maybe you could do something like 2 or 3 times a week, introducing kind of an active serum is perfect because actually you can see really good results from just using them 2 or 3 times a week. If you feel that you have a cleanser that you really hate and it's a balm cleanser and you have to get your cloth and you never know where the cloth is and the cloth is dirty, you haven't washed it, get a different cleanser. It's not the cleanser for you. So there are so many options out there. The most important thing is finding things that you can commit to. So just because it was brought up in terms of acne, so this is what I'm going to talk about next. Feel free to throw any skin conditions at me or skin situations and I'll apply it to anything. So whenever you're selecting your products, you have to make sure that they have the right ingredients in to address the issues that you're seeing. So if you're suffering from acne, breakouts, inflammation, whiteheads, cystic acne, so inflammation, bacterial, whatever it is to do with that, you need to make sure that you have something antibacterial and anti-inflammatory. So whatever you are seeing in the skin, so for example, eczema, the skin is broken and there's inflammation. So you want something that's going to heal the skin's barrier and that's anti-inflammatory. If you're looking at very, very dry skin, you want something that's going to support the skin's barrier and hydrate the skin. So just think always about what you're seeing on your skin and if the product is saying these kind of like key things that you want to hear. I would always say if you want something that's going to be really like multi-purpose, which I do from my products, I don't want to have like, if I go on holiday, I don't want to have to take like a separate suitcase for my skincare. I just want stuff that's going to be multifaceted and is going to work. Because, you know, our skin is a living organ. It does change from day to day, environment, diet, stress. Some days it's a bit oilier, some days it's a bit dry, hormones. So something that can be like a bit multi-purpose is perfect. So even with acne or congestion, you never want anything for your daily cleanser that you can use twice daily. You don't want anything that's going to be stripping, harsh. I would really stay away from like salicylic acid cleansers, which are like very popular at the moment. I think a lot of the high street brands that you can get in like Boots and stuff like that, a lot of them have salicylic acid cleansers. It's just too much for every day. Just go for something that you like to use. So something that's easy to use if you don't like the feel of an oil or a balm, if you don't want to use a cloth, if you want something that you can just splash water or use in the shower, then make sure that it ticks all of these boxes for you. And then hydrating. So something that you can use every day that you know is going to give the skin what you need. So for example, if your skin is super, super, super dry, you may need a couple of things to get the hydration into it. So you may need like a hyaluronic acid or a mist, that first initial thinner water-based layer of hydration before putting your oil on top of it, or an oil-based product. So whether that's like an oil or a moisturizer, layering that on top. Even with that set in mind, if you're struggling to commit to a skincare regime, just think about what you can do daily. Cleansing and moisturizing. I moisturize from bed. Like, I keep all of my oils next to my bed. I cleanse in the bathroom while I'm washing my teeth. And when I'm actually horizontally lying down, that's when I apply my oil. So it doesn't have to be like a big commitment. It's something that I literally cannot forget to do because the oils are on my bedside table. So even if I really can't be bothered, I'm like, oh my God, I can literally do it because it's right there. I mean, less so now, but more when I'm working, and I'm like, I can't. Yeah, so something that you can commit to daily. This is the foundation of your skincare. If you're doing this and you have been, say you introduced 2 new products and you've been doing it for 6 to 8 weeks and you're like, my skin is getting worse, then I think it's definitely worth addressing the products. If you need help selecting products specific for your skincare, we offer product consultations. Like, again, in the past, I think I've been like, oh, I can just figure it out myself. And then I spend loads of money and I haven't got anything that's right for me. So I would always say, I know that lots of other brands do it as well, lots of other facialists. So if you do need some support in selecting products, it's like kind of a one-off thing. So just do it. And then at least you know that you have stuff that's been recommended for you, for your skin, by a professional. And then, yeah, you can take it from, you can have like a bit more confident. I'm just thinking of like all the products that I've used and I've just like really stuck to, and they've just been like basically destroying my skin in the past. And then you're like, oh, now I have to fix this problem. So yeah, it's always a good idea to try and get it right from the start and have something simple that you can commit to. In terms of weekly, I think that having like one kind of day a week or hour a week that you can just set aside for yourself to do whatever you like doing or whatever you need to do is really important. And I think that it's always good to let this include a little bit of self-care. The best treatments at home that you can do to see like deeper results are masks. Like, they are very effective. They do take a little bit more time. If you, again, are not that into skincare, you can put it on and just do whatever you're doing and then get in the shower and wash it off. So it's, yeah, and like even with like clay masks or hydrating masks, you really do just need to leave them on for like 5 to 10 minutes. You don't want them left on for half an hour, because once the clay mask dries, all it's doing is taking out the moisture. Hydrating masks, it'll get to a stage where they're not working anymore. Same with acids as well. Like, they're most effective when you can feel like a little bit of tingling in the beginning, and then eventually that stops, and it's because the acid has become inactive. So you don't need to keep it on for ages and ages. 5 minutes is completely fine. So if you can commit to that, like 5 minutes a week. I like doing it on Sundays when I feel like a little bit more, I have a little bit more space. Find a time that works for you and just commit to it. And then that's the only way that you'll see results ongoing. It is nice if you can to have a couple of different masks, and then, like I said, your skin's not the same every day. You can chop and change. If your skin is very, like, I think clay masks are probably like the most accessible. Like, they sell, like most brands will have some form of a clay mask. If your skin is dead dry and like it's got no moisture, don't put a clay mask on it, because it's just going to be taking out whatever little moisture and oil you have left. If you're suffering with a lot of oiliness and congestion, a clay mask is amazing for you. So it's back to that thing of actually addressing what's going on in your skin, giving it a little feel. How does it feel? Is it dehydrated? If it's dehydrated, it'll feel like a tiny bit like, maybe like if you think about dehydrated like ground or soil, it'll feel like a tiny bit rough. If it's dry, it'll have some flakiness. If it's oily, it'll feel like a little bit slippery or greasy. Can you feel any bumpiness? That would be congestion. Obviously breakouts, you know what they feel like. So just really addressing what you're finding on your skin and making a conscious decision to treat that. I know it sounds really simple, but I do think that the beauty industry is really, really confusing. And you're like, oh, a mask is a mask. I'll just put it on and I'll be beautiful. And then you like me, I like have a reaction to it and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, I made things worse. So just really, before you purchase anything, even if it's popular, even if like bloggers and YouTubers and Caroline Hirons are like, this mask is amazing, it might be amazing for them, it might not be amazing for you. So just really read the ingredients and be like, what does my skin need? What am I looking for? Always feel free as well to like email a brand. It's just people sat working from home, waiting for an email to answer. So if you have any questions, just like ask. I'm sure like if I had a skincare brand and someone was like, is this suitable for my skin? I would be more than happy to answer that question and also say like, no, if it's not, you know, if they're not really answering your question as well. Like if you're like, I have this problem and they're like, our mask does this. That's not an answer to your question. Maybe it's not the product for you. I heard that 40,000 new skincare brands are launched every year. So if something that you've read about doesn't suit you, there is something else. There is definitely something else out there. So a weekly commitment and then finally a monthly commitment. So for me, normally a monthly commitment would be like a facial, but obviously we can't do that at the moment. But I think like once a month or once every 6 weeks, it's a really great idea to do a deeper treatment. So at home, this can be things like a facial massage practice for like a longer period of time. You can do your cleanse, tone, mask, facial massage. If you want to get really fancy, you can incorporate some gua sha. You can do a little bit of at-home microneedling, like the Relax Stamp and Glow is our new microneedling device. It's so easy to use. It's impossible to get wrong. It's like impossible to do anything bad with it. I don't even look in the mirror while I'm doing it anymore. I don't recommend you do that, look in the mirror. But it is really easy, unlike the rollers that's really easy to damage your skin with. This little stamp, even if you push hard, if you push light, it goes in the same amount. The needles are as long as they are, it doesn't hurt. And it's a really amazing deep treatment for any lines, pigmentation, congestion. I use it on my nose for blackheads because it just really encourages like detoxification of the skin, lymphatic drainage. I use it on any active spots so long as the skin isn't broken. So like a cystic spot is great for that, as it just creates like a little micro trauma. And, you know, sometimes they can just stay there for like forever. It just like triggers that cascade of healing and helps them go away quicker. If you're super, super fancy, you can do your LED treatment at home, and then you have like a salon kind of style at-home treatment. I don't think the salons are going to be open until April. So it's just something to bear in mind. But yeah, having that, even if you don't do any of that, if you just spend like once a month facial massage, once a month gua sha, like full routine, really treating yourself, doing it all together, really just like spending some time on your skin, seeing how it's doing, like checking in with it. I think it's also like a nice time to be like, because the days can just go so quickly, having that just like a little bit more time once a month to be like, has my skin changed? Do I need to change up anything in my skincare regime? If any products are coming to an end, are they still the right products for me? So yeah, and I think that is a bit, for me, I don't know about how you feel, but for me, having just like 2 steps to commit to daily, 1 step to commit to weekly, and 1 step to commit to monthly feels a lot more manageable than like K-beauty style, 15 steps a day, start it, don't finish it. And yeah, just having those moments where you're really checking in with your skin. How is it feeling? How am I doing? Is there anything that needs to change? Are my products still working for me? So I think that, and keep it results based. Think about what you're trying to achieve. Are you achieving it? So what improvements you want to see, are you seeing them? And then take it from there. I hope that helps. Does anyone have any questions at all?
Do you ever see people having different like types of skin, like hair and hair? So I would say I was really dry hair and then really oily hair.
Yes, definitely. What I would say about that is maybe check in on your cleanser, because perhaps it's a little bit too strict, because so the skin, if it's a little bit unbalanced like that, it's really normal. we have like different thickness of skin in different places, we have different amounts of pores in different places, so it's natural that that would happen, but sometimes if it's unbalanced, it can be linked to products as well, if the products are a little bit strong, if we're treating skin in different ways in different places. So yeah, definitely whenever you're doing any kind of skincare, topical skincare, feel how the skin is feeling and treat it accordingly. So I get like really, really dry like eczema here, but I get oily T-zone, so I would never put like a clay or an acid here, but I would use it very liberally like on my T-zone. Probably don't need as much hydration here, but definitely do here. So yeah, not it's normal for skin to be different in different places, and you just check out how it's feeling and make the decision.
Thank you.
No problem. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Would that apply for like a summer winter thing as well? So like in summer I feel like I get a lot oilier, but then in winter I get like really dry skin around here and it's a bit itchy and things, and so I think I need like more hydration.
Yes, definitely. So I heard someone saying something and I thought it was really good. They said like in winter you put more like layers of clothes on, and in summer you need like less layers, and they say it's the same for skincare. Like in winter your skin needs like more layers, more protection, and in summer it needs less. But whatever is going on, no matter what's going on, summer, winter, just always check in with your skin and treat it accordingly. So kind of like if you're cooking and you like taste it and you're like, oh, it needs some more, whatever, treat your skin the same, because it is a living organ. It is constantly changing. It renews every 28 days. Environmental factors are huge, not only environmental factors, but the choices that we make at different times of year. So for example, like perhaps it's harder to drink water when it's like 1 degree outside, or just things like this, and it can all have a bit of an impact on skin. So just always treat it accordingly to what you see. I say this to all of my clients as well, like you will always know your skin better than anyone else because you spend the most time with it. Even my clients that I've seen for like 5-6 years, they still know their skin better than I know it because they're with it every day. So just always learn about the products that you have in your kind of arsenal, and just make informed decisions about what you're feeling each day. Check in. How's it going? Is it all okay? What's going on? What does it need? And just give it what it needs. Does anyone else have any other questions?
Do you have any advice about so I've got a vitamin C kind of serum, and I've also got a retinol one, which I haven't used yet. And I'm just sort of always read things about not mixing stuff and I know what to do with it.
Yeah, definitely. So I would recommend during winter, you can use your vitamin C in the morning, make sure that you're using SPF afterwards. If you can't fit it into your morning and you'd rather use it in the evening, you can use them on alternate nights. You don't want to use them at exactly the same time because the retinol will render the vitamin C inactive. Vitamin C is very delicate and it's quite unstable and it's very easily upset. So you don't want to, and retinol is essentially an exfoliator because it makes skin cells desquamate faster, turn over faster. That's what exfoliators do as well. So the retinol will stop the vitamin C from being inactive, so you'll be wasting your money because you won't have any vitamin C. And also it can cause a reaction, dermatitis, particularly around the eyes. It seems to be quite common. So just use them on alternate nights. When introducing a retinol, if you've never used one before, start off just using it once or twice a week and your skin will get used to it and you can increase it. The kind of downside to retinol is that it suppresses oil production, which is why it's so good for acne. It suppresses oil production and it makes skin cells turn over faster, so it has quite a drying effect. So that's why with very strong retinol treatments, if anyone's ever been for an Environ treatment or anything like that, they're encouraging this peeling of the skin. I don't think that it's good for our skin to peel off. I think it's good for our skin to stay on our face. So yeah, you just don't want this kind of dry flake, but that's what happens. You get a bit dry and flaky. If you are experiencing that, just reduce use a little bit and increase hydration. And then, you know, if it doesn't kind of subside and you want to continue to use retinol, you may need a lower strength retinol, if, you know, if that is happening. Or for some people, if you're very sensitive, you introduce a retinol, you might not get on with it. And then I would recommend like retinol alternatives like Kikay or Bakuchiol, which are oils that are very high in retinoic acid. But to be honest, you'll probably be fine if it's like an over-the-counter one, not like professional strength. So yeah, just try it and see how you go. Okay, does anyone else have any other questions? No, all good. Okay, would you like to join me in a little facial massage practice this morning? We'll do, Helen, lots for decongesting, depuffing, sinuses, that kind of thing. Is there anything else that anyone wants us to work on? How are you guys feeling in terms of like stress levels and stuff like that at the moment? Hi.
Hi.
Nice, cool. We'll do some like nice relaxing work as well. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of mist and an oil. If you guys have yours to hand, I would recommend you do the same. Have any of you been doing any facial massage at home?
Not yet.
Good. Me neither. So if you just like to apply your oil to your face and also to your neck. Yeah, today I'm just using the Oilixia Kikay oil, so it says natural retinol. So if anyone can't tolerate retinol, this is like a good alternative. It's also pregnancy and breastfeeding safe because it's not like concentrated. It's naturally occurring in the plant-based oil. Okay, great. So we're going to start today by popping off the finger over the third eye, closing down the eyes, and starting by doing some little circular movements. And while we're here, we're just going to take some deep inhalations and long exhalations. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Continuing with that breath, trying to make your circles as little as possible. Seeing if you can slow down the circles. If you feel your mind starting to wander, focusing on the pressure of touch over the third eye, and imagining that this is unwinding any tension in the body, any tension in the mind, and preparing us for a nice, lovely facial massage practice. 2 more breaths here. Final inhalation and exhale. Very nice. Now we're going to stay in the same place and just do some very light taps. And we'll just do 10 little taps over the third eye. Wonderful. Blinking open the eyes. And we're just going to come and do a few neck stretches before we start, taking the head over to one side. So whenever you're doing any practice, it's always a good idea to start with the neck, moving on to the other side. The neck is the only way in and out of the face. Often neglected. Wonderful. Using the flats of our hands, we're just going to work on opposite side, going down, so one after the other. This is not a delicate area. If you do feel any kind of little tender points and you want to press and hold, feel free. Really nice. Still using the flats of our hands, we're going to turn and work up the neck, avoiding this area as it doesn't feel, if you poke it, nothing will happen. It just doesn't feel very nice. Working under the chin and over to the other side. If it's not very comfortable for you to do it this way, you can use the backs of your hands. Really nice. So next, creating a little heart, popping thumbs under the chin. We're just going to do a little pinch here and work outwards. Really good, everyone. So although you're applying a little bit of a pinch, the energy and the movement, the pressure is going this way. Nice. Really good. Next time we come to the outside, we're going to stop here and place our fingers here, and we're going to work into these big jaw muscles. So these muscles often carry a lot of kind of stress and tension if we have been feeling a little bit overwhelmed. If you're not sure where they are, just clench your teeth together and you'll feel it pop out here. So we're just going to start by tapping. Whenever we're doing any work on any muscles, it's just like on the body, we want to warm up the area first. And you can keep it light. If you have got a lot of jaw tension and it feels too much to do like any massage, this is a really good place to stay and start and be until things start to loosen up a little bit. If you're coming with me, we're going to use these fingers and start to do some nice big circles, applying a little bit more pressure, using it as an opportunity to feel this big muscle. It is a big muscle. It goes from underneath the cheekbone down to the jaw. See if we feel any like knots, little tender points. Just really exploring. Exploring what's going on in the muscle. And just like the skin, our muscles change from week to week. One day you may have no tension, the next they may be like little rocks, very tender little rocks. Nice. Now just doing some little walking men over them. walking fingers. Once again, applying a little bit more pressure than before. And if you find kind of a juicy little spot, stop and press and hold. If this is feeling a bit strong, you can do some little vibrations, wiggles on the same spot, little static circles on the same spot. You can always release for a second and come back into it. If you're not really feeling much and you think that you want something a little bit stronger, take a knuckle instead of a finger and press and hold. And I think you'll probably feel something, because I definitely do. Make sure that you're keeping a little bit of space as well between the top and bottom jaw. So you never want to be contracting a muscle that you're trying to release. Really nice. You can also work here on the corner of the jaw. Just working kind of down behind that area, which can feel nice if it's all feeling a bit tight. Stretching out the muscle fibers there. Wonderful. And just finishing with some kind of kind little circles. If you ever have a lot of jaw tension and all of this feels too much, just pop something hot on it, like a hot flannel or a hot, not hot, don't burn yourselves, but like a warm compress, just to encourage blood flow to the area. Wonderful. Next, taking the flats of our hands, we're going to place the fingertips just by the jaw and we're going to work all the way up. Keeping it nice and slow. Just a nice little lifting movement for our morning. Maybe not Helen's morning. Really nice. Next, just working outside the mouth. So we're going to work like this, using first finger and then the rest of our hands just from outside the mouth. So we're stretching out those buccal muscles. Really good, everyone. Really nice. If you are working with any little breakouts, feel free to work around them. Nothing about this practice should be painful or uncomfortable. If you're finding it painful, just use a lighter pressure. Remember, you're in control of your own touch. Really good. And next, just coming from the center of these nasolabial lines, working in a diagonal across the cheek. So we're working from here, this little line, the center, diagonal up towards the temples. Just a nice little lifting movement. And applying a little bit more pressure when you go over those temples. Great. Okay, we're going to do a little bit of work on one side and a little bit of work then on the other side. So the first thing that we're going to do is using a finger just coming to this point next to the nostril, and we're going to hook in and up. So your top lip will lift. And we're going to hold this for a few seconds. It's a pretty attractive face. Luckily, I'm the only one on the recording. So this, we're going to do a few points for kind of sinuses, congestion, puffiness. Nice. The next point we're pressing is underneath the pupil and up under, so directly underneath the pupil and up underneath the cheekbone. And you're not pushing in, you're pushing up underneath the cheekbone. So directly underneath the pupil, up underneath the cheekbone. And it's okay if this feels a bit uncomfortable, like a little bit tender. It shouldn't be comfortable. It should be a little bit uncomfortable. And we'll stay here for a couple more seconds. If it's feeling painful and you want to take a break, that's fine, but just come back into it. Great. The next point is here at the top where the nose meets the eyebrow, and we're pulling up. Really good. And we're just going to repeat that one more time. So next to the nose, hooking up. Great. Underneath the pupil, pushing up underneath the cheekbone. So you're pushing up. Great. And now where the eyebrow meets the nose. Really good. Next, just feeling where your cheekbone is and where your cheekbone isn't, and we're going to work underneath that. So you can either work with fingertips, just running underneath the cheekbone, or if you want something that feels a bit stronger, you can use the knuckle of the opposite hand to work underneath the cheekbone, underneath the zygomatic arch. So this is a great one for sinuses. It's also a great one for like sculpting, giving you some little cheekbones. Great. Next, just coming to put your fingers like this next to the nose, under the eyes, and we're just going to work outwards to the ear, give it a little wiggle, and then come down the neck. Next to the nose, under the eye, working outwards, wiggle at the ear, and down the neck. So these are all kind of a little sequence for decongesting the sinuses. Also great for depuffing, great for allergies. And I'm not using a particularly hard pressure here, you're just gliding. Nice. And we'll just repeat on the other side. So coming next to the nose, using a fingertip to hook up. We'll stay here for a couple more seconds. Nice. Next, coming underneath the pupil and up under the cheekbone. Applying a fair bit of pressure up. Great. Moving on to the next spot where we're pulling up here, where the eyebrow meets the nose, pulling up. Yeah, if you can keep both the points at the same time, you can, but I just find it too unbearable. Nice. And then just repeating once more. So hooking next to the nose. Taking some deep breaths while you're here. The next point is directly underneath the pupil, up underneath the cheekbone, pressing and holding. So this is acupressure. If you ever went for an acupuncture treatment, these may be some kind of 3 points that they use for sinuses. So you can stimulate them just like we're doing now. And the next point, pulling up. Wonderful. Next, we're going to work underneath the cheekbone. So if you feel where the cheekbone is and you feel where the cheekbone isn't, either using fingertips or the knuckle, you can just run underneath here. Applying the same pressure kind of upwards, so you're kind of hooking up underneath the cheekbone. Wonderful for sculpting, wonderful for sinuses. If you're applying more pressure by using the knuckle, make sure that you're taking it really slow. Really good. Next, placing fingertips next to the nose, underneath the eyes. We're going to work out towards the side, give a wiggle at the ear, and work down the neck. And we'll repeat this a couple of times. Using a light pressure, this is an area where the skin is quite thin. Everything that we're trying to work on is like just there. It's not hidden under fat. It's not a very fatty area compared to like these bits of our cheeks. So there's no need to use a lot of pressure to see good results. Wiggle at the ear and down the neck. Last one here. Moving out towards the side, wiggle at the ear and down the neck. Really nice. Next, we're going to make some little lobster claws like this. Pop them either side of the nose. Using a light pressure again, we're going to drag out towards the side. This is a great one for puffiness under the eyes, for decongesting the sinuses. It's also good over time for blackheads or like breakouts in this kind of area around the nose, sides of the nose, as it's moving any stagnant lymphatic fluid away from the area. So our lymphatic system is one of the body's biggest immune systems, detoxification systems. It removes metabolic waste that naturally occurs when cells are like made and die. So that's what they're referring to when people say toxins, rather than like, I don't know, anything weird. Really nice. We're just going to do a little bit of work underneath the eyes now. So just starting by doing some like tapping. And we're going to take this up all around the eye, keeping it super light. You can go in any direction, whatever feels good for you. Nice. Coming back to the center, just doing some little pump and holds out towards the side. So pump and hold, not losing contact with the eyes at any point. This is great for any puffiness under the eyes. It's also great for like dark circles and any fine lines, as it's stimulating microcirculation to the area, which promotes collagen production, which helps skin look nice and young and smooth. Wonderful. Now just coming up onto the eyebrows. And using quite a strong pressure, we're going to stroke over the brows and light pressure underneath the eyes. Hard pressure over the brows, light pressure underneath the eyes. I definitely feel a lot less bunged up than I did when I woke up this morning, so I'm happy that you said sinuses. Really nice. Coming back to the brows, we're just gonna pinch and hold and release and pinch and hold and do that all the way along the brow. And then coming back to center, and we'll just repeat a couple of times. You can, these muscles, the corrugator muscles, the ones that sit underneath our eyebrows that are responsible for all of this movement, they are not delicate muscles. If you want to really give them a pinch, you can. If they're feeling a little bit tense or tender, just take it nice and slow. This is also a nice one for these little frownies, as they're caused by these muscles pressing inwards. Really nice. How's everyone feeling? Good? Okay, great. So just moving onto the forehead, using the flats of our hands, we're just going to stroke up the nose and over the third eye. If anyone needs a little bit more slip, feel free to apply a bit more oil. And we're just going to do some nice, slow, long strokes up the nose and onto the forehead. And then moving along so that we're going across one side and back towards the other side. We'll repeat this a couple of times. If you ever have any trouble sleeping, this is quite a nice little bit of self-massage to do when you're lying in bed after you've just put on your nighttime skincare routine. We can also work out. Really nice. And then coming onto the temples, I'm just using the fingertips of these two fingers, working away from the face over the temples. You'll feel them, they feel a little bit softer than this part of your skull. And just doing some nice circles into here. So this is another area that we carry quite a lot of tension. We'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Taking deep inhales and exhales. Imagining that you're massaging all of your worries out of your brain. Really nice. Then just coming back to place that finger between the brows again over the third eye. And coming back to these little circles. Closing down the eyes. Focusing on the breath. Focusing on the feeling of your finger, the pressure of your touch over the third eye. Imagining that these little circles are unwinding you. Really nice. We're just going to move these little circles slightly up so that we come to directly above but in the middle of our forehead. Closing down the eyes, we're just going to do some little circles here. In facial reflexology, this is working along the spine reflex. The spine houses our central nervous system. So wonderful to decompress. To reduce cortisol levels and to support the central nervous system. Really nice. Blinking open the eyes. We're just going to come down to finish on the neck where we began. So creating some little fists, popping them under either side of the ears. We're going to work down the neck. Just a few downward strokes. Really good. Nice to see some little yawns. And we're just going to come to finish with our hands on the heart center, and we're just going to do a little bit of tapping. Wonderful. Helping to move along all that lymph that we've been working on today. Helping the body do the job that it naturally does. Just giving it a helping hand. Wonderful. Shaking out your hands, shaking off any stagnant energy that you've moved. And you are all done. Really well done, everyone. How are you all feeling? All good? Good.
Thank you.
No problem. Does anyone have any questions for me?
I just have one question. Like with the oils, I always get scared that my skin is going to make me more spotty. Yeah. Do you have any like suggestions of ones that are good if you're kind of worried about it making you more? Like,
yeah, so definitely go for something like light. I love the Oilixia Explorer blend. It is really light, it's non-comedogenic, so it doesn't clog the pores, and it has some ingredients in that are great for breakouts if you are kind of prone to breakouts. So it's got a little bit of retinoic acid and retinol. It's got lavender and neroli, so that's great for like combination skin. It's great as an anti-inflammatory if you do get any breakouts. It's also really good for if you get spots and the marks it leaves behind. Because it has tomato seed extract, which is very good for like evening out skin tone. So yeah, that is a nice one. But look for something like, there's also, you can look online, there's like a chart of how comedogenic oils are, and they like rate them on a system of 1 to 5. I actually can't remember the name of the chart, but if you just put in like comedogenic chart for oils, I'm sure it will come up. And yeah, you want something like not clogging at all.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Does anyone else have any other questions? No, all good. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, everyone. Our next workshop is a gua sha and facial massage fusion, which is on the 23rd of Jan. This is free to Skin Society members. All of our workshops and tutorials are archived on Skin Society as well, including the ones that are for sale on the store. So everything's to access there, or it's £15 for non-members. So hope to see you guys there. Take care of yourselves. Stay sane in lockdown.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks.